Minister, can you tell us what you plan to do about the taxi industry and the problem with GPS?
That's an easy question. I thought you'd ask me a hard one. What we plan to do is bring peace. What we plan to do is to ensure that the taxi drivers and the taxi owners understand that their industry is very important to us and that our tourism business will not thrive and survive without them being a key player. That having been said, we have to look at the dispatch companies. There are 3 dispatch companies, not all of them in good shape, and so some decisions will have to be made there, and we have to make decisions about the overall industry. And so we have some work to do, and I believe that working together we can be successful at it. I expect that 6 months from now, as the season really picks up, the taxi industry will be thriving and they'll be very happy with where they are.
Senator Wilson, I think this is a question for you, the Equal Pay Act, is that correct? I understand there's already a provision in the Human Rights Act that pay should be equal, so why, can you talk a little bit more about why this is needed?
Well, I think as it comes to the equal pay, like we recognize that in any society, when we have a disparity insofar as the salaries for the for the exercise of the same skills, such as between men and women, and that obviously creates confusion as well as inequality. So even though the Human Rights Act does have a provision in it that talks about equal pay, I think in order to stress the importance of ensuring that there's equal pay for equal professions and jobs and skills and so forth, that its own standalone piece of legislation would allow for it to not only be further embedded within our society, but also to ensure that any other issues that may come from that or stem from the equal pay issues are also included in that legislation.
Is it aimed at men and women rather than blacks and whites?
It's with respect to gender, yes. It doesn't exclude the fact that that's maybe something that's considered, but at this point, the emphasis certainly is with respect to the gender.
Tim, Jennifer, this is perhaps an obvious question and the Premier has touched on it. How do you think you're going to succeed where other ministers have perhaps failed before you in education?
I don't know how to answer that. Because it presupposes some things. And I don't want to say that I'm going to succeed where others have failed. What I do bring to it is a method of working that seems to get cooperation. I don't want to reveal too much right now, but I can give you one tidbit. Sitting on my right, Minister Zane De Silva said to me, I'm willing to help you any way I can. And he didn't mean as a minister, he meant in his private capacity. I immediately thought, well, construction companies adopt a school. And I said to the minister, would you adopt a school? Not only did he say yes, he named the school. Needless to say, it's in his constituency, but he named the school. And he said, what do you want me to do? And I said, schools have to wait for repairs. Sorry, Minister, but they do. There's a schedule. And the schedule doesn't take into account when you need the work done. But we have people who can do the work, who have staff already trained, and if they could form a relationship by adopting a school and helping out the principal and the children, then everybody wins. Not only did he do that, then he got so excited, he went out and got me another person who's already adopted 2 schools. And I haven't been to the Construction Association yet, because that's my plan, to put it to them, to get, all 9 primary schools have somebody who's adopted them. So I put it out now, Construction Association, please invite me to your next meeting so I can address your members and get our schools adopted and thereby help with the repair of some very old facilities.
Could we know more about this gang task force, even though Colonel Burch is not here?
The gang task force, the Minister for National Security has been meeting with the key heads in his department, and certainly from the, enforcement perspective, they have charted a way forward. Because we aren't just a sledgehammer type government and just don't focus on enforcement and punitive measures, there's also a liaison with the minister who has responsibility for youth and community development. so that that also is going to be represented, and some of what this Minister Blakely spoke to about the softer issues that need to be encompassed. Because it goes wider than just one ministry and wider than just the ownership of one ministry, it will reside in the Cabinet Office using the benefit of the CPU perspective. Not that the Cabinet Office is going to run it, but because you have a number of diverse ministries and interests, that's how it will be sort of managed or overseen, though Minister Birch is certainly is going to be the lead minister. And I know that on his return he was doing a bit of he did personal business, but he also had the advantage of being able to cover for the government in representing us at the funeral of the late Prime Minister. I'm sure that he will be eager to talk to you in his own press conference next week. Thank you.
I've got another one.
One
actually.
for whom?
Minister Blakely,
Okay,
please.
Minister.
Minister, I hope this is for you. The Human Rights Act
Yes.
comes under you, yes. The sexual orientation amendment, is that likely to happen in the next session? Can you say what are your thoughts on it?
I met with my permanent secretary, Mr. Randy Rochester, the acting permanent secretary, who was here today. And we met and had a consultation with Ms. Deborah Blakely, and we feel that we're going to be prepared to address that issue most appropriately regarding bringing it forward in the most expedient course of time. We're hoping that it will be before the end of this session. And we're looking at doing some things that we believe will address the concerns of various stakeholders in the community regarding sexual orientation without compromising the integrity of the moral fiber for some who might be concerned with regard to their particular spiritual and or religious beliefs.